Hi, everybody. It's good to be here. Thanks for the intro, Heather. Really excited to today have three of our strategic buyers on the MMX exchange speak to you today. And I think what we're going to hit on is really dig into what their clients are interested in purchasing programmatically. And so we'll dig deep on just trends that we're seeing on the data side of things. What data can you expose as developers to interest their buyers? And then lastly, we'll talk about kind of the new frontier. We've talked today a little bit about native and video. And we'll also talk about some strategies that we're going to roll out in MMX that have really generated a lot of interest from some of their buyers. So I'll let them introduce themselves. And thanks again for being here, guys.
Sure. Pleasure to be here. I'll start. I'm Chou with AppNexus. I've been at the company for about 5 years in various roles. But for those that don't know AppNexus, we're an ad technology platform that specializes in powering marketplaces, including the Millennial Media Exchange. So in my role, I run the publisher account management team that oversees all the publisher sellers that we have in North and South America, and personally also run the relationship with Millennial. And we've been such a great partner. They've been such a great partner with us for the past year, and we're really excited to be here on the panel.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. My name is Sipple from AppLovin. We've been in business for about 2.5 years now, and our main goal is to help developers like yourself make more money and help advertisers connect with consumers by making mobile advertising more engaging and work a little better.
Hi, I'm Tanuj. I'm from MediaMath. Thanks for having me here. Me and my team are responsible for all the exchange management at MediaMath. For those of you who don't know MediaMath, we are a demand-side platform. So we connect the biggest brands and the biggest advertisers to the biggest suppliers out there, such as Millennial, AppNexus, and all the others. And we like to view ourselves as a kind of an operating system, for lack of a better word, so that we provide you with a necessary tech platform for you to connect seamlessly to the supply side.
So just to kick things off, wanted to kind of start broad and drill into more specific things, but it's no secret mobile programmatic ad spending is growing double digits year over year, just a really fast moving piece. Can we compare it to online? Mobile's outpacing even online RTB growth. So I wondered if you guys could start with what are some of the biggest opportunities for your clients as we go into Q4, the busiest time of the year, and into next year? So Eddie, if you could start, that'd be great.
Happy to start. So AppNexus actually has its roots in desktop online inventory, and we really were evaluating the entry into mobile probably in the 2012 era. We knew it was going to be outpacing desktop. And in 2013, we made major investments in the space based on the projected growth. So a few things we did there, we integrated on the supply side with all the major exchanges and SSPs like MoPub, NextAge, Smato. We also integrated with key demand sources, net new ones that are mobile first, like AppLovin, and also worked with our partners like MediaMath and DBM on transitioning from the online space to mobile space as well. And of course, last year we cemented our partnership with Millennial, which launched the exchange, and that's really been a huge catalyst for our mobile marketplace. I think from our perspective, what we see is that in the desktop space versus the mobile space, programmatic has still opportunity to grow. If I just look at fill rates, for example, in desktop, if you brought on a publisher into RTB landscape, you're going to see about 4x the fill rates that you see in mobile. And to me, that strikes a huge supply-demand imbalance. So I think that we're still waiting for brands and other dollars on the mobile side to start shifting over to programmatic. Probably a lot of that still sits in the network space that we don't have access to. So I think that's part of it. I think that also from an integration perspective, it's very new. So I think of RTB kind of like a hyper-fast, multi-billion impression per day game of telephone, where you have partners across publisher SDK to pub ad server to mediator SSP exchange to the DSP, all the way down to the hands-on keyboard buyer that's using the console to buy. And throughout that integration, there's so many opportunities for someone to misspell a word or say something incorrectly. And we're working with all of our different partners on how to integrate that seamlessly. But in the meantime, we're seeing gaps, right? So buyers don't know how to translate online buying to mobile yet. There's still, how do you take a whitelist of domains and transfer that to app names? How do you take advantage of lat-long data? So I think overall there's education integration challenges that we can still work through.
Okay.
The opportunity we see in Q4 is just the eyeballs, right? It's more time spent on mobile versus the desktop. This is going to be the year where people are spending a lot of money via e-commerce, mobile commerce on their phones, their tablets, and the switch is really going to be prevalent in the coming months. So what that means is a lot more inventory for you all that's going to be available out there, and how do you make sure you maximize that real estate to have your best Q4?
From our side, so we work with most of the Fortune 500 companies, and our brands are increasingly talking about investing heavily into mobile space. What we are pushing them towards and educating them is understanding the mobile space better. Some of the technological considerations would be that the traditional metrics don't really work on mobile. The click-through rates, the conversion rates, because it's the same people, so it was easy to track when there was the cookie environment. Now it's a totally different environment. And Eddie touched on it. So the first few RTB transactions back in 2007 were done on the MediaMath platform. And since we are deeply entrenched into the online world, the space has evolved and we are evolving as well. But the brand dollars, they take time to evolve. And we are educating them, we are continuously holding seminars, and that's where our focus would be, to help them bring the traditional TV dollars to display dollars to mobile dollars.
So I think education was a key theme across almost everything that you guys said. So, and there's a lot of challenges mentioned in I think, Eddie, your response, and Tanuj, your response. So what are you guys doing to really educate the buyers to overcome those hurdles, tracking and just lack of understanding of how mobile and online differ? What are some of the things that you're doing to really drive that education forward?
You want me to go? Yeah. So we want to view the campaigns which the advertisers run seamlessly. We don't want them to think that they're running a display campaign very differently from a mobile campaign. So what we are trying to come up with is new and innovative ways of measuring how they interact with the apps. Secondly, we are trying to make data available for them to target. So app names, the URLs, the lat-long data, any other mobile-specific points that come in. So the IDFAs, mobile environment on Android versus Apple phones. So things like that, we are making it increasingly available. So what we are trying to find is a corollary between the display world and the mobile world, so that they seem to be on the same page, but they behave so differently, so that we can allow our advertisers to have a unified view.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a lot of buyers are seeking common data elements from online to mobile, but they're just not there. So that seems to be happening quite a bit on our exchange from some of your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
Back to Sarah's great presentation that preceded us, was at the very basic level, where does the rubber hit the road where the consumer who's going to do something sees the ad? And I don't know about you all, but when I look at mobile ads, it seems like 8 out of 10 you can't even read. They're really not good, right? And everyone in this room is trying to fix it, and everyone's trying to fix that. It's a big problem to fix. But that's the most common thing that we're working with advertisers on, is making sure that ad is as powerful and productive as it possibly can be, and that'll help all the down funnel metrics.
Yeah, so I was going to add just that in addition to the buy-side education, we're making it's not a glamorous approach. I mean, we're basically talking to individual buyers and users about how to actually target mobile programmatic inventory. And it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort partnering with our bidders and DSPs. But I think also on the sell side, there's also education that we can be doing as well. The programmatic landscape in mobile that we see is about 20 billion impressions a day. That's on one day, there's 20 billion impressions. And if you think about your slice of that, it's a huge market. So how do you actually surface why your app should be monetized better than others? Today we fill a relatively small portion of mobile programmatic, as I mentioned, where desktop we see about 4x of it. So why is it that certain apps are getting monetized better than others? And I think that comes down to understanding how the demand side is actually looking at the inventory. And for you, it's probably, some of you guys would probably run apps that are smaller size. You're not going to have direct conversations with agencies or trading desks. I think that's where you can partner with SSPs, networks like Millennial to better understand how are buyers actually targeting your inventory, what data should you be sending from the SDK to your ad server or to your SSP in order to actually get service. You have to be the ones that are raising your hands and saying, oh, I understand, if I want hyper-local demand from Yelp or whatever, I need to send lat long data because that's what they key off of. Or maybe if you want to get access to brand dollars that are setting up deals and they're looking for categories in sports and finance and news, well, if your app is one of those apps, make sure you're being categorized correctly. So I think it's important for you to have a dialogue with your SSPs so you can best get access from the buy side.
Can we ask how many of you do share some type of data with your monetization partners?
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys have Millennial's SDK installed on their app, and I think when your buyers are specifically looking to run campaigns, or Tom, when you're facilitating the monetization piece, what are some specific data points that they're looking for, and what would you say is the most important for some of your clients? What data are they looking at, and what data do these guys need to share with us to get your clients excited?
Yeah, we're mainly a performance network, so the data that our largest developer partners share with us in most cases is some type of down funnel data, whether it's if somebody paid to subscribe to your content, whether they got to level 4 of that game, whatever it may be. So then an app install is not just an empty install. You actually know if someone installed, how profitable they are for you, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days in lifetime value. And really try to work together as with Millennial and all the other partners is how do you find those real life people that will come not only install your app, but spend time and spend their money and time inside your app. That's the key to pass that type of data.
Yeah, I would just like to add one point to it. From a DSP perspective, right, so we guys have built the bidder technologies, and they work on the OpenRTB spec. So what we are very deeply advocating is the OpenRTB spec. So it's good for you guys to have look at the spec and look at the fields that are common across all of the supply partners and make sure those are filled out. Because if those are filled out, it will make buyers like us help drive higher CPMs, help make better decisions, get the right audience, and ultimately lead to high fill rates. So it will be beneficial for the developers, the supply partners, and for us as well.
Yeah, and I'll just add one comment there. I know the team that supports you guys on our side, if you haven't had a conversation with them specifically about the data that you're sharing and how that links to buyer needs in MMX, please raise your hand and let us know. We're happy to kind of give you a window into that world a little bit deeper than we will today, just to make sure that all of the data that you have to give is coming across clearly and accurately represented, so that as these guys are buying impressions in the exchange for their clients, that they have the data that they need to make those buying decisions, because it's tech to tech. This isn't IO to IO, so that data has to be clear and present.
Yeah, ultimately it's hard for us to make decisions apart from a single impression outside the machine world, right? So there are three kinds of buyings which generally people can do. So the automated guarantees, the PMPs, will touch on those, and the exchange buys. The exchange buys fill up the biggest hose pipes, so it's hard. So the more the data, the better for us.
Yeah. How do you see? I know Tom has a ton of performance demand, and Tanuj, you have more brand focused demand. Eddie, a mix there. What are some things that? How do either in your platform, there are options that they're able to take to run those campaigns differently? Can you talk us through that? How brand and performance differs?
Yeah, so from a branding perspective, right, there are a lot more metrics, like how engaged is your audience with the brand. So the typical DR metrics like CTR or CR or CPI don't really make sense when a brand talks about awareness. So we look at different metrics like response rate in terms of like how much of a user is spending the time on an advertiser's website. Now, a key to that part is, and we'll touch on that later, is the cross-screen stuff, right? Because when you talk about how engaged a user is, you have to talk about the user as a whole, not on that particular device. So for us, the engagement metrics like time spent on the website, looking at media which links the advertiser to a certain kind of publishers, all those metrics make a lot of sense. And we take that all into our CPM evaluations for a particular impression.
On the performance side, it's a little bit simpler. That what the advertiser only cares about is, did somebody install my game and do something in it or spend some money with me? Or if it's a different type of advertiser, did they install the app and sign up for an insurance quote or whatever it may be? There's an action. And that's what we take is the action, the ultimate goal for that advertiser, and then have benchmarks along the way with various data coming in to make sure our creative's optimized, make sure we're using the right IDs to find the people that will ultimately hit those targets for the advertiser.
I think from the AppNexus perspective, as we're not really direct party to the buy side as our partners here are, I probably have less to say about it, but just from our perspective, generally what we see on the demand side is people are looking for brand safety, they're looking for an opportunity to deliver their budgets and a way to hit their metrics, whether it's performance installs or engagement surveys. So from our perspective, we want to offer all the capabilities to do that, right? So on the first point, what app is it? Or if you can't be transparent about the app you're actually selling, is it a category or some other targeting capability? And the other aspects, delivery and performance, I think those are just part of the advertising ecosystem. So there's not much special we do there. We offer capabilities to buy on a CPM basis. You can retarget, you can do performance, click-through rates, CPCs, and all that. But that's from our side.
Cool. As we come into Q4, what are some of the things that are high on your list for some of your clients? Are they earmarking particular growth metrics for mobile in Q4 that you can talk to? Are they looking for specific types of new ad formats to run? What are some of the things that are high on their list for the holiday season?
Yeah, so we take a lot of feedback from Millennial as our partner. I'll probably be just saying what you guys want us to do. But generally, what we're hearing from the market is, a lot of what we've seen traded in mobile programmatic to date has been very standard banner ads. Interstitials have been a huge push from our partners, our buyers, our exchange partners. And so that's something that we want to evaluate as well, so growing the interstitial marketplace. Mobile web, surprisingly, actually has great monetization in our platform. So that's something that we want to better sell as well. So, and then finally, from a category perspective, I think as buyers are starting to better understand the mobile landscape, being able to ingest and target based off IAP categories is something that has been very prevalent as well. So those are just three very simple examples. But from a growth perspective, I don't think we want to share specific numbers, but it's gangbusters overall.
We'll take gangbusters.
There's the headline from the panel.
Yep.
From our side, so our buyers are looking to spend more and more on mobile in Q4 because they're seeing that most of their transactions are running through tablets and phones nowadays. So there's an earmarked budget. I can't disclose that, as Eddie can't, what the exact numbers are. But in short, better targeting. So they want to know which verticals of apps are they buying. They want to know the app names. They want to know the lat long. They want to know any other information you guys can provide in the bid request. On the other hand, they're looking for better formats, right? M-rate is one big topic, which we paid, not so solved. M-rate, not at all solved, right? So the creatives are there. In-feed is something big. So our brands care a lot about what the experience is in terms of saying that, is the user seeing videos after reading two articles, or after reading even one article, or they're listening to like 2 songs and having a video play. So the whole brand experience and frequency and cadence of where the mobile ads are is a big thing to them. And moreover, this one last bit which I'm seeing from brands more and more is the deep link, is the deep linking technology. Because if you are going through a web, if you're having a web through or a web view through, the brands are conscious of that fact, because you're basically opening a browser from an app environment and going back and forth. So that would be something from the developer community saying that, are the apps properly deep linked, or how much of the adoption is there?
Cool. I just wanted to wrap up. So we've worked with a lot of partners and talked with some of you guys about guaranteed buys and private marketplaces. And so it's a big initiative for us to run these in Q4 because a lot of their clients don't have, with the exception of Tom, don't have a direct connection to a lot of you guys. So Millennial is facilitating that. And so I wondered if we could talk just for a minute, probably a minute or two, about private marketplaces in general. And Eddie, the impetus for launching those within AppNexus. And we're running quite a bit of those buys through MediaMath today. So I wondered if you could talk through the impetus for that. And then Tanuj, if you could talk through the value that your clients are seeing from having Millennial connect them directly with some of our supply sources.
Okay, just I know we have short on time, so I'll do my best. So I think private marketplaces for AppNexus actually starts back in 2010. So we cemented a partnership with Microsoft at the time to launch their exchange. We're the technology provider for them. And what we found was that RTB buying was evolving for a complex business like Microsoft, where they had to think about things like price competition and channel conflict. So we started building out tools around yield management, transparency. For buyer X, we want to share URL. For buyer Y, we want to hide it. And we put in all these rules to support private marketplace-like capabilities back in 2010. And I think in 2012, when deal ID and private marketplace became such a prevalent conversation, we kind of expected, well, we already built this stuff. We just don't have deals. It's fine. I think in 2013, we then saw that a lot of budget was going to deals, and we were missing out because we didn't build the specific capabilities. So in May this year, we launched the beta with deals. Millennial was our first mobile partner. We've also partnered with other sellers to do deals as well. Success has been phenomenal. We have major adoption by many of our sellers as well as our partners here on the stage. And I think right now we're seeing anywhere from 2 to 20x lift in CPMs. Some of our sellers are seeing about 10 to 20% of their inventory being sold via deals. So overall, the adoption's been fantastic, and we kind of wish we were there sooner.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah. So from our side, it was so important that we had to build out an entire platform and a team. So, most of our offices in London are catered towards bringing the Deal ID stuff on board, and we are deeply integrated with Millennial, AppNexus. So, there's as I was talking before, there's an RTB or the open exchange is a long tail, and then there's this specific portion of demand which the advertiser is willing to pay any CPM for, and it's not guaranteed or it's not really it's there that the advertiser will get it. So that's where the deals come in, because for their most valued customers and for a certain amount of branding budget, they are ready to pay the higher CPMs. And we have a deal discovery tool in our platform that enables our buyers to locate deals they want and just run them on a click of a button. So for the app developers, you can package your inventory, run it through your required SSP, and just float it as a deal in the system, and you'll get demand.
Yeah, one last quick point for me. I know for many of you, deals is probably a foreign subject, but I think generally, as I mentioned earlier, it's something that you should be having a conversation with Millennial about. Their sales team is out selling deals all the time. We get inbound leads every day to execute new deals, and we're seeing meaningful amount of spend now. Generally, what we see in desktop is deals are done between the top publishers, Comscore top 20 publishers, and agencies and trading desks. I think in the mobile space where it's so fragmented, where Millennial has 60,000 SDKs installed, I think that's okay to share, right?
Yeah, that's a public number.
Where there's 20 billion impressions and each one of you makes up a smaller portion, it's probably hard to have a deal specifically with a trading desk or an agency. But what Millennial is doing is actually taking groups of your inventory together and selling that as a package deal with buyers with MediaMath and other trading desks, DSPs. So I think that's another part of the conversation you should be having with Millennial. They can definitely understand better how you should fit into their deal marketplace.
Yeah, and I think we're also making one-to-one connections too. So for some of you, just if MediaMath clients want to access inventory and you might not be on MMX, we're facilitating those connections as well. And I think it's been really successful so far. So I think we are definitely out of time and could probably keep talking for quite much longer, but we'll end here, and I'm sure everyone will be around for questions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.